Am I the butthole for not punishing my daughter after she refused to watch her cousin and something bad happened? My sister has a 1.5-year-old son. Ever since he was born, she's tried to get my 14-year-old daughter to babysit as she wants them to be close even though they're so far apart in age. My daughter has declined as she doesn't want the responsibility of someone else's kid, especially if something were to go wrong. My sister doesn't get it despite multiple people, myself and my daughter included, telling her. Yesterday we were at our parents' house for a barbecue. It was mostly adults with a few children varying in ages, but my nephew was the youngest. All throughout the barbecue, my sister kept trying to get my daughter to hold him or feed him, which my daughter declined. At one point, I went in the house to help my aunt and mom with drinks and sides. 15 minutes later, I hear my sister shrieking. I rush outside, and she's holding her baby, whose face is bleeding. Her husband is nearby, trying to take the baby to administer first aid. My sister is shrieking at my daughter to put her damn phone down and you're in a lot of trouble. My daughter looks terrified. Finally, brother-in-law takes the baby and goes to tend to him. I get both sides. My sister went inside to pee, asking my daughter to watch her son. My daughter said no, ask your husband. My sister says she told her to just help out and it won't kill you. My daughter flat out told her no, and my sister left knowing daughter was looking at her phone. The yard was filled with adults, all of whom they were keeping an eye on the little one, but at some point they lost track. My parents have concrete steps leading to their backyard. Somehow, nephew tried to walk up them, tripped and scratched his face. He was fine in the end, just a few scrapes. My sister kept demanding I take my daughter's phone and asked what I'd do to punish her. I said nothing because she said she wasn't watching her cousin and there were half a dozen adults who should have been watching him, specifically his father. Brother-in-law even admits that it's on him, and he screwed up, but my sister kept blaming my daughter. We left right then and I told my daughter several times in front of the family and alone that it's not her fault. My sister is still mad at me and my mom says I should have daughter apologize. I said no, she did nothing wrong. My mom says that it wouldn't have killed my daughter to watch him for 2 seconds. Am I being a butt? Not the butthole, the child's father was right there. He can look after the child. Your daughter said no, your sister chose to ignore her, it's your sister's fault. I love that the dad, sister's husband, is like no buttholes here. It was even though it seemed like the mom, sister, didn't even tell him. Either way, it's definitely not your daughter's fault. Not the butthole. And this seems like some sexiest gender norms bullcrap if you ask me. Edit. I said NAH because I'm a dumbass and tired. The sister is a huge sexist gaping butthole. Edited the edit. Sexist not sexiest. Y'all, I'm an effing mess. The huge sexiest gaping butthole sounds like a really awkward compliment. Laughing out loud. Got to love typos. There's a subreddit for that. Laughing out loud. Yeah, just because original poster's daughter has tits doesn't mean she A, wants to drop everything to watch a kid, and B, is willing to watch the kid for no pay. This. My sister used to ask my daughter to babysit. It was basically making sure the kids didn't kill each other. My daughter was not a fan, and my sister knew it, so she paid her, and paid her extremely handsomely. Sometimes my daughter would get $20 for 20 minutes of sitting there, making sure the kids didn't die, and that was it. If Auntie wanted her to babysit, my daughter always had the option of saying no, but always did because she was young, and it was a lot of cash. This aunt is providing zero incentive at all. Your sister is a smart woman. It sounds like even more than that, she is a fear of the responsibility. I'm sure getting screamed at and blamed for this incident will really help her feel more secure in the future and more willing to babysit. Unamused face, unamused face, unamused face. Not taking on an extra responsibility that you don't want and are not getting paid for is not really a fear. It's setting a boundary. Sexiest gaping butthole? You have my interest. The sister is the butt, not the butthole original poster. On top of that, the sister shouldn't even be blaming anyone. Even if she did agree to watch him. Toddlers fall. It happens, she could be watching from a few feet, and he would still felt. I once, at about 14, under supervision from my mom and aunt, accidentally dropped my cousin's baby on his face as he walked around. My aunt just laughed it off, and told me that these things happen. Baby was fine. I was very embarrassed. May as a full-grown adult I dropped my kids a few times. It happens. To be honest, I dropped my kid this morning. They bounce. She good. Not the butthole. And I would go further and send a text message, so the next time this kid gets hurt, your sister doesn't try to pin it on your daughter. I want to make this clear. My daughter is not required to watch your child. She will not now, or ever, be watching your child. So plan accordingly. Your child is your responsibility. This is sister's fault. She was watching the baby at the barbecue and instead of telling her husband, "Hey, I'm going pee, you're on baby," she told the teen who said no, then went anyway. Husband and I have 2 kids, younger one is a 1.5-year-old. When we're at events we make sure she's with one or the other of us, so we know who is watching her. If I was watching her, and left, I tell him, so he knows too. I don't see what husband did wrong. He even said it should have been him, not the random teen. It is sister's bizarre insistence that original poster's kid babysit even when her own parents are right there that caused this issue. Oh, not the butthole. Yeah, it's like the changing of the guard. One parent pees or eats or chats with family and the other chases kiddo. Take turns. Especially with my youngest, because they went from nap to trying to kill themselves in less than 30 seconds. It was a rule that we had a clear and understood procedure for who was on kid duty when out and how it switched as needed. Original poster is not the butthole, but sister is for leaving her kid with someone who told her no, for the last almost 2 years. It depends. In the general sense, absolutely yes, both parents are responsible for the baby. In that particular moment it sounds like the mother had possession of the kid. It's common for parents to take turns on who is actively in charge of supervising the toddler at a given time and not necessarily for both to be actively on all the time. At no time was original poster's daughter responsible though. Got to add, this is some stellar parenting too. Supporting her daughter's autonomy, supporting her resistance to coercion, backing her up 100%, with unwavering boundaries despite family. Awesome. Not the butthole. Not the butthole. You can't force someone to babysit, and your daughter repeatedly said no. There is no gray area here. Protect your teenager, who did the right thing by leaving no doubt that she did not want to and would not babysit. Tell your mom to wind her neck in, and tell your sister and her boyfriend to be better parents. If anything, you should reward your daughter for her consistency and for not allowing herself to be bulldozed by older people. Not the butthole. And good for you for standing up for your daughter. Really happy that your nephew is okay. It really sounds like sister-in-law was trying to force your daughter into doing something she was uncomfortable with. Daughter had already repeatedly said no. One of her reasons being, what if something bad happens? And guess what? She was proved right. No, it would not have killed her to keep an eye out, but it was also not her responsibility. It sounds to me like sister-in-law is hoping original poster's daughter takes a liking to the toddler, and that's why she keeps trying to get her to hold or feed him. Seems like sister-in-law hopes can get free babysitting for date nights or something. Since that isn't working, she's resorting to guilt trips and boundary pushing. Original poster's daughter said no. Sister-in-law is trying to negate her refusal and make her responsible anyways. If original poster or their daughter apologize now, sister-in-law will probably keep pushing. I got pushed into a lot of babysitting as a teen and preteen. My parents would make me even when I didn't want to, but they did insist I was paid for it. I did have a few relatives try something like that, trying to get me to bond with the kid, so they could invite me over to play with the baby. When they really meant free babysitting. My parents had my back on that much, at least. Original poster, don't back down, it's a big not the butthole from me. Bingo. I think it's a combination of 3 things. 1, like you said, sis is trying to force a bond in the hope she can wheedle some babysitting out of original poster's daughter. 2, gender bias. Sometimes people just assume all women love babies and toddlers and feel outraged when someone bucks those assumptions. Original poster's daughter doesn't get all gushy over babies and that bothers her sister. 3. Parental bias. Every child is the apple of their parents' eye. Ugly babies are beautiful to their moms and dads, even if they look like a sunburned Winston Churchill to everyone else. So even if original poster's daughter doesn't get gushy over babies and the sister knows this, she's nonetheless offended that the girl isn't getting gushy over her particular baby. Not the butthole big time. Even the kid's dad said it was his fault. Original poster's sister is just big mad over some combination of 1 to 3 above. I'm pretty sure there's a control element as well. Sister is mad that original poster's daughter doesn't immediately bend over and do exactly as she's asked and is trying to browbeat her into it. That too. She sounds insufferable all around. Not the butthole. Your daughter has been very clear that she doesn't want to babysit. I think it's awesome that you're backing her up and advocating for her. Your sister is a huge butthole for not taking no for an answer. Original poster should tell her sister and mother that she is actually rewarding her daughter for being mature enough to know she does not want the responsibility of watching someone else's child, and that she was able to clearly state she was not accepting the responsibility. I love this. I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to add to it. Original poster, let them know that you're rewarding her for successfully voicing her personal boundaries, despite being harassed by multiple adults. Tell them how proud you are that she was able to give such a firm no, especially given how much young women can be pressured to do as they are told. Let them know you taught her to be strong in character, and that you couldn't be happier with her resolve. By the way, original poster, I love the way you are respecting your daughter's choices here. Original poster could get her a new phone for that. Just to rub it in. Because she's sexist and thinks all teenage girls are automatic babysitters, as it's usually normal and true. Even though there was qualified adults including the baby's father. Original poster, not the butthole. Not the butthole, but your family is. Your sister is trying to score free child care under the guise of the cousins being close. Would it have killed your mom to help out? Hope your daughter realizes not all adults are like her aunt and grandma. So you're just letting the dad off the hook? The baby's other parent was right there and admitted fault. Not at all. Other comments already covered that. But the dad didn't seem to be trying to make the 14-year-old feel bad or blame her for the injury or trying to manipulate the teen into babysitting. Original poster's mom and sister are attacking original poster's kid. That's right, the child's father did not try to lay it off on the teenager. Good for him. Plus, damn. How many adults does it take to watch a toddler? Not the butthole. As the kid who was forced to step up and watch all the other damn kids my whole life, your daughter explicitly stated she was not taking over supervision. Your sister is in butthole to continue pushing it and further in butthole to reject her husband's responsibility here. Dude, I'm in my 30s and I'm not even comfortable watching kids. A 14-year-old not wanting that responsibility is perfectly reasonable. Your sister is trying to impose her will on people. Not the butthole. Not the butthole. There were adults all around, including the child's father. Your daughter was really clear, repeatedly, that she didn't want to watch the baby both on the occasion and in the past. Your daughter is still a child, so why should she be held more accountable here than all the adults, again, including the child's father, who were also present when the baby tried to climb the stairs? Your sister has it all wrong if she thinks forcing her baby onto your daughter will make them closer. What she is doing is only going to create resentment and drive your daughter away from her aunt, and possibly her cousin, too. I mean, I'm a parent and I get that not all people like or want to deal with kids. Your daughter might just be one of those people. Your sister needs to let this one go and get over herself. Y'all are acting like the daughter was asked to put her life on hold indefinitely until said toddler is fully grown. There is a huge difference between babysitting and watching a child for a moment. The fact that your sister badgers your daughter to babysit doesn't have any grounds in this situation. That is a separate subject. Even though your daughter said no, she was still the only one who knew your sister had gone to the bathroom and chose to ignore that fact instead of at least letting your brother-in-law or any other adult know the tot was unsupervised. I mean, she didn't even have to touch or interact with the tot, just the bare minimum of sporadically checking he's not necking himself. While the fact of the matter is she is in her right to say no, there were many other ways to deal with this than your daughter did. Your choice not to punish her is completely valid, but I'd be questioning what kind of daughter I'm raising after an incident like this. You're not the butthole, but your daughter is questionable. The fact that your sister badgers your daughter to babysit doesn't have any grounds in this situation. That is a separate subject. Counterpoint: it's relevant because it increases the risk that the sister will continue or intensify her efforts if she gets the daughter to watch the kid once. These kinds of people are awful. You can't give an inch, or they'll take a mile. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.